Who is the Buddha? You may have seen statues or images of a chubby, laughing figure often associated with Buddhism. This cheerful image aligns with the common belief that Buddhism is about peace and happiness. However, this well-known laughing Buddha actually represents a 10th century Chinese monk, whom some Chinese Buddhists revere as an incarnation of the future Buddha. But he is not the Buddha in the traditional sense. The Buddha we are referring to is Siddhartha Gautama, a spiritual teacher who lived in northern India and southern Nepal during the 5th century BCE. His profound teachings laid the foundation for what we now call Buddhism. You might already be familiar with the story of Siddhartha, as portrayed in various films and literature, the journey of the Enlightened One. There was once a prince who lived in a magnificent palace, surrounded by luxury and comfort. Yet one day, he stepped beyond the walls of his kingdom and encountered the realities of life: old age, sickness, and death. His heart wavered, troubled by the impermanence of human existence. Unable to accept a fate confined to wealth and opulence, he renounced his royal status and embarked on a quest for truth, seeking a way to transcend suffering. In the end, he attained supreme awakening and was revered as the Buddha, the Enlightened One. But if this awakening was the destination, where did the journey begin? Can the start of a life be defined merely by a specific time and date? According to tradition, the Buddha was born in the 5th century BCE, yet in Buddhist teachings, existence is not bound by a single moment, but is an endless continuum of causes and conditions. To understand the meaning of enlightenment, we must examine the essence of this title. Buddha is not a personal name, but an honorific that signifies the awakened one. The word originates from the Sanskrit root bud, meaning to awaken, a state of awareness that transcends the illusions binding the world. But if enlightenment is an awakening, what exactly did the Buddha awaken from? The answer lies in the Buddhist cosmological view, illustrated through the wheel of life, Bhava Chakra. This image is not merely a religious symbol, but a profound reflection of reality itself. According to ancient Indian thought, the cycle of rebirth has neither a beginning nor an end. When a being dies, it is not the final cessation, but merely a transition to another state of existence. Some may be reborn in the realm of gods, others in hell, some as animals, and others again as humans, all caught within the ceaseless current of birth and death. Regardless of the realm one is born into, no one can escape the law of impermanence. Even the gods are subject to decay and dissolution. Unlike certain religious traditions that attribute creation to a divine being, Buddhism does not posit a creator god responsible for this cycle of existence. It simply is, an objective reality governed by its own laws. Yet because this cycle turns endlessly without escape, it is not a source of comfort, but the root of suffering. Birth, aging, illness, and death, these cycles repeat incessantly, trapping beings in affliction. This perpetual cycle is known as samsara, the unending wheel of existence. It is at this juncture that the Buddha appears as the one who has broken free from the chains of samsara. He attained nirvana, the state of liberation, where suffering ceases and one is no longer bound by the wheel of birth and death. This is enlightenment, an awakening beyond ignorance, a state that transcends the limitations of ordinary perception, where suffering is forever extinguished. In the endless cycle of birth and death, sentient beings wander in ignorance, bound by the rhythms of existence. The Buddha, the Enlightened One, has transcended this cycle and serves as a guiding light, revealing the path to liberation from suffering. The title Buddha signifies absolute awakening, in contrast to the dreamlike ignorance of others. Buddhist cosmology teaches that Shakyamuni Buddha is but one among countless enlightened beings who have appeared throughout time, each reviving the timeless truth of the Dharma. Though the world repeatedly falls into ignorance, new Buddhas arise to restore wisdom. The Buddha does not create new truths, but rediscovers the eternal path to freedom. To become a Buddha, one must embark on an arduous journey spanning countless lifetimes, accumulating wisdom and merit. This begins with a great vow, an aspiration to attain enlightenment for the sake of all beings. Long ago, during the time of Buddha Dipankara, an ascetic named Sumedha displayed great devotion by laying himself down so the Buddha could walk without stepping in mud. Moved by this act, Dipankara prophesied that Sumedha would one day become Buddha Shakyamuni. From that moment, Sumedha vowed to follow the Bodhisattva path, dedicating himself to lifetimes of cultivation until he ultimately attained perfect enlightenment. These past lives are recorded in the Jataka tales, illustrating the Buddha's journey of perseverance. They remind us that enlightenment is not instant, but the result of unwavering dedication, an arduous yet meaningful path toward transcending suffering and becoming a beacon of wisdom for all beings. In the endless flow of samsara, a bodhisattva does not appear suddenly like a flash of lightning in the night sky. Instead, he undergoes countless lifetimes, accumulating merit and refining his soul step by step in preparation for ultimate awakening. As the king of monkeys, he used his own body as a bridge to help his tribe escape the fangs of predators. As a noble prince, he willingly sacrificed his life to feed a starving tigress and her cubs. Through innumerable acts of selflessness, he cultivated boundless compassion, unwavering patience, profound wisdom, and noble virtue. When the right conditions ripened, he was born into the human world as Siddhartha Gautama, a prince of the esteemed Shakya clan. Beneath the skies of ancient India, amidst the grandeur of palaces and golden halls, Prince Siddhartha grew up surrounded by luxury. Yet the very walls of his opulent life also concealed the true nature of existence. He lived in indulgence but had never confronted the suffering inherent in human life. Until one day, when his chariot took him beyond the palace gates, he witnessed four sights that changed everything. A frail old man, a suffering sick man, a lifeless corpse, and finally, a serene ascetic. When he learned that aging, sickness, and death were inescapable truths, the prince was struck by the realization that everything he possessed was fleeting, like waves crashing and dissolving into the vast ocean of birth and death. Yet a glimmer of hope arose when he saw the ascetic, a man who had renounced worldly life in search of liberation from the cycle of rebirth. That night, burdened by the sorrow of impermanence and the endless question of existence, the prince left behind his palace, his wife and son, his status and power, to embark on the path of spiritual pursuit. For 6 long years, he explored every practice, from profound meditation to extreme asceticism, yet none led him to the truth. When his body weakened to the brink of death, a sudden realization dawned upon him. Both indulgence and self-mortification were chains that bound people to samsara. He chose the middle way, a path of balance, free from all extremes. Under the Bodhi tree, on that fateful night, Mara, the Lord of Illusions, appeared, unleashing every temptation and fear to shake his resolve. Yet with wisdom shining like the radiant sun and moon, Siddhartha saw through the illusions of the world and overcame every trial. As dawn broke, he transcended the final veil of ignorance, attaining supreme enlightenment. Siddhartha Gautama had become the Buddha, the awakened one, the discoverer of the path beyond birth and death. For the next 45 years, the Buddha dedicated himself to teaching, spreading the middle way, the Four Noble Truths, and the Noble Eightfold Path, guiding countless beings toward liberation from suffering. When he entered parinirvana at the age of 80, he left behind no kingdom, no wealth, only a path of wisdom and compassion, a path that anyone can walk if they truly seek freedom from the endless cycle of samsara.